Well, I guess this one is to be expected by now, but since I just talked about Billy and Mandy on PS2, let's address its handheld counterpart on the GBA, which is surprisingly quite different in many ways. I can already tell you right off the bat that it doesn't hold a candle to the console in my honest opinion, but it's still kinda fun in its own right and plays different enough to be its own separate thing. And the fact that both were published by Midway Games means that they do have a somewhat consistent feel between them, at least from a story perspective. So, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy on GBA is a 2D platformer slash beat 'em up where you run through levels as the three titular main characters and fight against hordes of enemies instead of each other. The main setup of the plot is about the same, with Grimm's mojo being unleashed upon the world, so now the gameplay will involve retrieving them one by one, whether that be in the main campaign or the returning mission mode. This version of the game has 3 unique unlockable story segments that all feature stages and certain enemy types based on whoever the end boss is, those being General Scar, Jack, or Nurgle. And completing all 3 will give you the true final ending, which still reveals Billy to be the culprit. What a surprise. Anyway, mobs of enemies must be taken out before you can advance further towards the goal, and it can be pretty chaotic at times, but I wouldn't say it's very difficult. Some of the platforming parts definitely feel awkward and not super responsive, but I guess it does what it needs to. Just like the console version, you can fill up an energy meter and unleash a Mojo Meltdown attack finisher on your foes that makes the character invincible for a moment and wipes out everything around you. Aside from that, you can grab occasional weapons and power-ups or just use your basic 3-hit combo slash ground pound to deal with enemies. Stuff like that will be more useful in the side content as the enemy AI gets way more aggressive. Like I said, the game is not super difficult, albeit a little frustrating at times due to an inconsistent hitbox. Seriously, a lot of times I felt like I definitely shouldn't have gotten hit, but I still did. The most challenge you'll get from this title comes from the mission mode, which does add a little more variety to the regular gameplay loop and will be the primary source for mojo balls. As to be expected, this is a very short and simple game in general, and there really isn't too much to say about it. I wouldn't exactly call it bad though. Of course, the full-fledged experience lies with the console version, so for yet another licensed tie-in game for GBA, this one is serviceable. It has similar aspects to the superior version, but can still function on its own. And as far as these Cartoon Network games go, this one is far from the worst, and you really shouldn't expect anything spectacular from them, let's be completely honest. But anyway, that's gonna conclude this very brief discussion, and as per usual, there's still quite a few games left in this marathon to talk about, so let's keep chugging along. As always, thanks for watching, have a happy, horrific Halloween if you celebrate that sort of thing, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.